How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's doing well. It's been a while since I made a video. Thought I would do one, contribute to the vinyl community since I've been watching a lot. I feel it's only fair. Plus, I got a lot of records I've been bought lately that I need to kind of clear through the pipes. So, got a little stack here. These are some of the highlights I've got in the last few months. I've just kind of slowed down the buying. I've been buying collections, which is bigger, but you don't get really that good of stuff in there. Instead of buying the stuff you really want, you know. Got some good gems. So what we're listening to here, this is Sandy Bull, E Pluribus Unum. This is Sandy Bull's third album on Riverside. I had the first two. I found them out at garage sales or whatever. A friend introduced me to Sandy Bull. He recommended him. I asked him about good folk artists, and he said Sandy Bull, check him out. He kind of introduced kind of the Middle Eastern sound into his music, and he was one of the originals to do that, I guess, which kind of influenced psych music, which is kind of his first album that has that kind of feel to it, so I could see that. But he's a really good guitar player, super clean, like same kind of level as like Joe Pass or like Kenny Burrell, you know, just like super clean. Yeah, like, I mean, this one's a little bluesier, but and once I heard it again, I know I'd heard it before, but I heard it recently, and I had to get it, and it was a really good price for a really good sounding record, so I jumped on it. I was really stoked about this. So here's another record I got in the mail. This is one I just got today. This is Moog Indigo, John Jacques Perret on Vanguard. So this is Moog music, and I'm not usually. Well, I do like Moog music sometimes. I mean, I've heard some great Moog songs, but most of it's kind of cheesy. So I've never heard like a good full album. This was the closest thing I've heard like to a really good Moog album. It's not start to finish masterpiece, but there's at least half of it is like really fun, kind of like breakbeat, really good stuff, kind of like fuzz guitar, a little bit of kind of novelty, probably less than half, but it's still kind of got that feel to it a little bit sometimes on a couple songs, but most of the stuff is really good. Super psyched to get this for a really good price. And if anyone knows any other good Moog albums, please let me know, because I mean, I could always use another good Moog album in my life for sure. Here's another record I got online. This one, I got this a couple months ago. This is Nolan Porter, No Apologies. I heard Nolan Porter a couple years ago. I came across one of his singles. And I listened to these, and I really enjoyed them, but I was just buying so many records at the time, I just couldn't keep up. So recently I revisited Nolan Porter. I listened to the first two, and I really enjoyed this one. This is his first one. And this has Lowell George. So he writes about half the songs, and he was kind of a contributor to Robert Palmer's early music as well as Littlefoot. So it's kind of like a southern rock kind of background feel to this, over like Nolan Porter just going off like kind of more R&B style, but it works together. It works really well, and I really enjoyed this. So super stoked to do this for a good price. Here's another eBay purchase. This is Itamar Assumpção. This is Sampa Midnight. This is the original press on MPA, a Brazilian copy. Itamar Assumpção, I've showed his first album on one of my videos, and so this is his second studio album. This one's like mid to late 70s, but it's not, maybe not as good as the first one, but it's still really good. I really enjoyed this. I heard it again, same thing recently, and I just like, wow. And then I looked online, and it was super good price for a really clean copy, so I had to jump on it. But he's probably my favorite Brazilian 80s artist, and it kind of has that kind of like Talking Heads, but more kind of like Reggae Police style, but it's kind of more reggae-ish, but it's got, you know, the Brazilian percussion, a little more avant-garde, kind of jazzy-ish. But I really enjoyed it. This is a really good listen. Super stoked to get this one. Here's another internet purchase. This is Mono Chao, Proxima Estación Esperanza. This one I've listened to a lot, like right after college. This is like Latin reggae. I believe he's from Europe, but he sings in Spanish. I think he's Spanish, but he sings in Spanish. He sings in French. He sings in English. He sings in Portuguese. He sings in Arabic. So his musical range is kind of all over the place. I mean, a lot of it's still kind of centered in that Latin reggae style, but he kind of deviates from that a lot of times. But this is the second album. This one's really good. He's got a good band behind him. I mean, he's got some badass drummer, guitar players just crushing it, some horns, some great backup vocals. So yeah, this is super stoked to get this. This is just kind of revisiting some of the stuff I really used to enjoy. I used to download it. Here's another. This was a huge want list. Another one that I kind of listened to, a little nostalgic from college. This is Vexy Chages. This is probably my favorite Beck album. It's really different from his other stuff. It's super, like, really somber, just kind of a mellow vibe. It's got a nice string section. Yeah, just great songwriting, super mellow. I used to play this all the time, like especially at night, just kind of going to sleep or whatever. So super psyched to get this. This is a huge want list. I've been kind of holding out for something in my price range, and I jumped on one. So just got that yesterday. This one was super psyched on. This was a purchase I get from the estate sale place I stop by almost every Friday on the way home. A lot of times I come up empty-handed, but about a month ago he brought in some like personal stuff that his wife found in their closet or whatever. So he let me dig through it. I was the first one I saw. It wasn't like nothing crazy in there, a lot of prints, but pulled up this jam, the first BC Boys on Def Jam. So this is my first BC Boys LP. I've seen them out in the wild, but it's always like a single or a scratch record or a missing record. So this is the first time I've seen one like in a really good condition, and what a way to start with the first BC's album. So here's another record I got from the same place. This was one of those Fridays though that I just like nothing new, just dig through old stuff and see, just want to take home a record, check something new out. So I pulled this one out. This is Larry Corral, and the name of the album is Lady Corral. And this is on Vanguard. This is like a kind of a reissue series. But I really like this. This is kind of like Grateful Dead bluesy, kind of jazzy, a little bit psych, but this is a little more lo-fi. But yeah, I really enjoyed it. For $1 too. I mean, it was a great listen. So stoked on that one. So this is one I got across the street at a flea market. We have a college over here once a month. So this is a Ramsey Lewis Trio, Back to the Roots. I really like Ramsey Lewis Trio. I have Maiden Voyage and Funky Serenity with the same lineup. So I really like these guys. I don't remember this album, so I kind of took a chance, but it was $5 and it was sealed, so it was perfect condition. And then yeah, it's pretty good. I enjoy it. It's kind of, maybe not as good as the other two, but it's bluesy in parts. It's a little bit avant-garde. It's kind of classical. It's it's good. I mean, I enjoyed it. My wife enjoyed it as well, which was brownie points. So super stoked to get that one. So here's one I got from a kind of a smaller collection. Just guys selling like 10 records, just want to get rid of them. So there was a bunch of Omar Rodriguez Lopez. So this is one of the keepers for sure. It's in great condition. I wasn't really super familiar with this record, and it has a droney sound to it, which is not exactly what I usually like to listen to. But if you've heard Mars Volta's album, he has kind of those transitions between the songs. So it's kind of what this sounds like. Like there's a lot of music going on in this music, but and on this album, but it's a little more in the background, and the kind of the droney like sound is a little more prevalent. So I kind of call it more of that kind of an album, and just in general it sounds like kind of a noise album. But I really enjoy this. This is really good. So super stoked to get this. Not something I was looking for, but something that just was looking for me, I guess. So this is the other one I pulled from the same collection. This is John Frusciante and Josh Klinghoffer, A Sphere in the Heart of Silence. So this is the Chili Peppers' old guitarist and the Chili Peppers' current guitarist. And this John Frusciante is maybe third album, and I know he collaborated with Josh quite often. But this one was also kind of spacey. This is kind of in a similar vein as the album I showed before. Kind of like some synth sound, just not your traditional rock, more of kind of a noisier, dronier album. Not quite as much as that one, but still with the same kind of vibe. But I really enjoyed it. It had a little bit, kind of like electro beat going on too. So I really enjoyed it. Super stoked. Another one I wasn't really looking for, but I really enjoyed it. So these last few are from a different collection I bought. It was kind of a weird. It was more of like a leftover collection. Someone was selling records, and they sold a bunch to some guy, and he filled his car and had no more room, so he just left some stuff there because he couldn't fit it. So it was kind of an odd collection. But nonetheless, I went to check it out, and I got a really good price for a lot of records. Not the greatest condition, but definitely some gems. So I pulled a few. So here's. This is Mary Lou Williams. This is, I believe, her third album. This is on Contemporary. I believe it's from 1953. So I think it's my oldest album. It's definitely might be my first jazz 10-inch. So super stoked to get this. I really liked it. It kind of has like that Latin Cuban vibe to it. I think it's from 53, so it's kind of for the 50s. It kind of has that vibe for me to like it. So I'm really stoked on this. Sounds really awesome. So here's another surprise. This was Art Blakey and the Jazz Messengers. This is Drum Suite. Art Blakey is something that I've come across him a bunch of times, and I was never nothing ever struck me as like a huge fan. But for some reason, I really like this one. It has a lot of drums. You can tell from the cover, it's like it seems just a little more tribal. So I was really stoked to come across this because it was not something that I would have ever probably sought. But I really enjoyed it. And this is the 6i on Columbia. So I got a couple more here. This is another huge surprise. This was Max Roach, his chorus and orchestra. It's Time. Definitely, Max Roach is another person I came across some of his albums. I was never like a huge fan. It was good, but nothing just blew me away. But for some reason, this one's incredible. I mean, it has Clifford Jordan on sax, Mal Waldron on the keys, and Max Roach is just going off on the drums. And then you throw in his chorus and orchestra. It's kind of like a gospel choir. It's not overwhelming. It really works, and it makes the record for me it's more unique. You know, it just kind of stands out. Not stuff that I've really heard that often. So I was really excited to get this one. This one's a great listen. And lastly, this is kind of like the trophy, the gem of the last couple months. This is Nina Simone Sings the Blues. I don't know. Nina Simone is one of those artists I love, and she's kind of hard to find, and my wife loves it too, which is like extra brownie points. So I try to seek any Nina Simone that I can find, and I actually find it strangely quite frequently, and all in pretty good condition. So this was this is the reason I bought the collection. I saw this. I just had to have it. I kind of like when she a little bit later in her career as well. It's a little bluesier. This one's all blues, which is great. A little bit edgier, but yeah. So I was super stoked to get this. This is one of those ones that was just on my radar, but I just never pursued it because it's kind of pricey. So to get it for a pretty cheap price, I was super stoked. So yeah, that was the trophy of my last couple months. But yeah, I appreciate you guys watching, and I look forward to all of you guys' videos.